Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode number 10 of King City. Now, I do apologize for the pause we had between episode number 9 and this one, but I have been kind of busy, so I didn't really get to record anything. But we're back, and hopefully, we can continue on. Okay, so we ended the last episode by creating this park here in the new neighborhood that we have, and I did go off camera and put in a whole lot of trees. We also have all the buildings that we zone nearby now fully built. Now this area is pretty successful in terms of usage by pedestrians. As you can see, we have a whole lot of people using the pathways. That is exactly what I was going for when I was planning this area. And we just have a view of all the apartments that we had zoned. And I do believe they're fully upgraded now, so they will probably end up looking, this is their final look. And here's the view of the main park. Again, we have a lot of people using it, which is pretty nice. And we do have quite a lot of commercial around the park, so hopefully people can shop there. And this was one of the signature buildings that I placed here. Again, I went in with some paths all around and a lot of trees, and on both sides of the street we have commercial again. I just wanted this area to be kind of like a shopping district for people. We did also go in with a few more parks right here in the middle of all these residential buildings and the schools to the right. I thought it would be nice to kind of break the residential pattern and have some parks right by the schools. And I think it looks pretty nice, to be honest. Now, as you can see, I have put in a whole lot of schools on that street. We have a total of 16 high schools on this street. Now that is completely unrealistic, I know, but no matter how many I put down, as you can see, they're all full in capacity. So there is not much else I can do, and I did go in and put in a few other high schools there. I think there were 4 there. Again, those are all filled up to the max. So the only solution I have is to just continue putting schools right by each other. And this is our hospital area. I did go in for the first time and use the parkings, like the parking lots, and I put 2 here. I will come back and put another 2 smaller ones though. And I am just removing all the parking, the street parking in this area, just because it doesn't make sense if you have such huge parking lots here. The main idea behind the parking lots was to have parking for the people visiting the hospital, but since we're going to be putting in the metro in this episode, there will be a stop here right by that roundabout, and they will kind of the parking spaces will kind of act as both for people who are going to the hospital, and for people who want to take the subway, they can come here and park their cars. Now this will be the first metro station for our city, and I'm picking this location just because we're close to all the offices and all the new residential and parks that we have. And what I have planned for this area is some sort of a central station where you have different modes of transportation kind of meeting in the same place. So that is why I went in with the above ground subway station here, just so there is some sort of a presence of some structure indicating that this is like a central station of some sort. Just because the other subway stations, the ones that just have stairs leading down, they don't have much of a presence. Now, I don't necessarily like the building of this subway station, but that is basically all the options we have available in the game, so I do have to work with it. Now, one last thing I will be doing is I will bring in the trams from the waterfront into this area. Again, this will help with the whole kind of main central station that we're trying to build here. We're going to have the trams run all the way from the waterfront into the city center, if you would say. And I feel like this will kind of complete that whole idea we're going for. So the trams will be using the bridge we have here to get to this side of the city. And then I'll be separating the rail right here for the trams and then elevating it right after. And they'll be elevated until they go in front of the central station. To be honest, I just thought having the trams running on a elevated platform, it would just make it look cooler, especially that this is the kind of downtown of our city. And in terms of the route they'll take, they're just going to come in front of the station, and we have this loop in front of it. They'll take the loop and make their way back onto the waterfront. Now, I did go in with 2 separate stops here, right by the central station. And the idea behind that was that people who are coming into the central station, they would get off at the first stop, and you would have people who want to get on the tram and go towards the waterfront waiting at the second stop. Hopefully that will help with just the flow of people getting on and off. I'm not sure if that will work, but that's just what my idea was behind it. So this is our first tram that is going towards the downtown. We do have some problems with this route. One of the main ones is just the number of pedestrians that are usually crossing at the intersections that the tram is either making turns or just going through. Those can be problematic in the sense that it takes a lot of time for the tram to make a turn. Now, the red light here was one of the ones that was causing some delays. I did go ahead and remove the red lights here, but we still had a lot of problem just because there were a lot of people crossing. Unfortunately, I did have to go in and remove the crossing paths. Now, for now, it seems to be working better, but we do have to keep an eye on it just to make sure everything's running as smooth as possible. And this is where it was supposed to be a stop, but I forgot to pin the route here. So I was just going with the tram and it just passed on through this area. I feel bad for the people inside. They basically came for a tour of the downtown. So this is what I'm doing here. I just went back in and made sure we had a actual stop where the tram would stop here so people could get off. And yep, I think that fixed it. So this is what I was talking about. The tram was literally waiting here for several minutes just to make that left turn, only to be faced with more pedestrians trying to cross. So I did have to eliminate the crossings later on because this just wasn't working out. And also, if this keeps going on, you're going to have all your trams one after another getting stuck in traffic, and you're going to have a whole backup of trams just not getting anywhere. So that is no good. Okay, so we are going in with our first subway station, and obviously I wanted it placed within close proximity to our bus terminal. Now, the bus terminal we put down a few episodes back, and it just makes so much sense for me to have a subway station right across the bus terminal. This would just be very easy for people to kind of transfer from the metro, subway, whichever you guys call it, onto the buses. So that is where we're going for the first stop, and then from there I'm just trying to cover the dense areas in the older neighborhoods that we have, areas where we have a lot of apartments, where we have a lot of offices. I'm just trying to put a stop close to them. Now again, guys, this is basically the first metro or subway that I'm building in the game, so it's gonna look rough. Like the railway underneath the city, it probably doesn't make too much sense, and there are a lot of weird angles. And trying to cross this river here, that was next to impossible, so I just had to play around with it for quite some time to make sure we have the railways basically crossing this river. So please keep that in mind if you're watching this, and feel free to leave me any tips, any suggestions, any advice on how to go with the layout of our subway, what works the best. Because to be honest, I'm kind of winging it, and I'm not exactly sure what's going to work the best. I only had one goal with the metro, and that was to connect the upper side of the city, the older neighborhoods, into the downtown. And that was pretty much it. So other than that, not much thought was put into it. So that's why it might not make too much sense. But as we go on, I'll try to fix it and resolve any issues that may appear. All right, now that we have the metro layout figured out, we're gonna try to connect it into the train depot and hopefully have some trains start running throughout the city. Okay, so for now, I've decided to go with two separate lines for our metro system. We're gonna have one that runs through the lower part of the city, the newer part, the future downtown part, which is this area. And then we're gonna have one that goes all the way up to the older neighborhoods of the city, and it will basically loop around and come back into this station. This is why I think it makes the most sense. We're gonna have almost all parts of the city covered. Now, in terms of the older neighborhoods that we have to the north of the city, I'm not going to be covering every single area up there just because I don't think that makes sense. We already have a few different bus lines running there, and we have a subway station right in front of the bus terminal, so people can hopefully use the bus network, get to the terminal, and then get on the subway if they need to get to the downtown area. And let's not forget that we also have the trams that run the full length of the waterfront and then they make their way down to the downtown core. So there's also that option for getting into this area. So I think we're well covered for now, but we can always go ahead and add in more lines and more stops if we need to. But that also depends on the growth of the city and how dense our neighborhoods become. Now we got these tunnels here for the trains right in the center of the city, and to be honest, it looks pretty weird with no barriers on them. So I went in with these barriers here and I tried to kind of barricade the area and hopefully stop anyone from falling in by accident. Now I know that doesn't happen in the game, but in real life it would be pretty weird to have a tunnel of that height there with no barrier around it or no fence around it. So I thought it would probably make the most sense to go with these ones and kind of cover the area. So that is what I'm trying to do here. Now, does it look great? Probably not, but I gotta do my best with what is available in the game. So we'll try to make it look the best possible. Now, as I was doing this, I saw the stop for our tram, and look at the amount of people here. That's honestly great to see. Hopefully, that's sign of the success of the network. Um, we will try to think of it as a success of the network, but honestly, I'm pretty happy to see that there are this many people using the trams. I'll just be going in with some walking pathways here. all around the station. The idea is to have better connectivity for people coming in from the different streets all around. And we're going to have two small bridges, walking bridges, over the tunnels here. Again, just for better connectivity. And any area that is left in between, I will be zoning them with either offices or residential in the future, just because they have great access to public transit, and it will kind of be a waste of the tiles not to zone them. Now we are having a lot of traffic on this bridge here, and the reason is this intersection. We just have both buses and trams and a whole lot of people trying to cross this area. So I will need to go off camera to kind of reconfigure this area and move one of the bus routes so they don't have to make a turn here. I do find that kind of boring to do on camera, so I will be doing that off camera just to make sure we have a better flow of traffic. I mean, it is expected to have a lot of pressure put on this intersection just because it is basically the one and only entrance into the downtown core. And I'm afraid it might have to remain like that for some time, just because trying to figure out a new entrance into this area is kind of difficult, and I'm not sure how I should go about that, but we will eventually have to do that because we just can't rely on that one bridge coming into this area. But as far as the public transportation goes, I think we're doing pretty well. We have great numbers now. Our trams were at a capacity of 101%, so that's great news. And our metro lines, they just need to run for some time in order for the numbers to come in. Alright, so we went off camera and fixed a few things, and we are now back. This is one of our subway stations, and just look at the amount of people using it. That is great. This is very close to that area where we have the apartments facing the water, and it seems to be a success in terms of people choosing to use the subway. And looking at the tram stops here by the main station, again, we have a lot of people using them, both coming into the city and leaving the city. I mean, not the city, but the downtown area. As you can see, the sidewalks are basically full of people riding the transit. Again, that's great. And I also went ahead and zoned some high density commercial spaces here. I just thought it would make sense to have these places where a lot of people will be walking, so they have some options for shopping, and you also see some more commercial coming in. I also did zone this area right by the tracks for the trams with high density apartments. I just really like the tram running and the backdrop being all these apartments. I just think it looks cool. It gives a downtown city vibe, which I really like. Um, Leave me a comment. Tell me if you guys also like how this turned out or not. Okay, so now that we have the public transit figured out here, it only makes sense to go in and densify the area. So we actually have people using the system. And I'm going in with a mix of residential and office space for this area. Now, in terms of the area right in front of the subway station, I was kind of trying to figure out what would make the most sense. I definitely wanted to go in and use one of the signature buildings, but no matter what I put down, I just felt like it wouldn't fit into this area or it didn't make sense. So that was kind of challenging actually, trying to find the best uh, building that would suit this area. So I will be spending some time putting some buildings down and then removing them, zoning some offices and then removing them again until I finally come to a decision that is just a bit further ahead in the video. Now, what I didn't know was that I wanted the trams that run through this area to go through some tall buildings before they get to the station. And the only way to achieve that is basically by putting down high density offices. I mean, you could do residential too, but I just preferred the offices for this particular area. And I did try to zone in some offices, but they just didn't look right, to be honest, along that main street there. So I had to go in with some new streets that would go underneath the tracks and kind of follow the shape of the tracks. And I found that this way I could better achieve the vision I had for this area. Okay, so I had mentioned that I wanted to put down a signature building here, and I decided to go with the museum. I believe it's called the Modern Art Museum. Now, I both like the architecture of the building and the fact that it's a museum and it's a tourist destination, so it's kind of necessary to have good public transit close by, and we have plenty of that in this location. I just thought it would be the perfect fit amongst all the signature buildings that we have. So for the area right in front of the museum, I want to keep it a open space, perhaps a park space, and I went ahead and put this pedestrian bridge over the tracks. I just wanted to add some sort of a focal point, just to kind of make it more interesting than a regular park in the game. So for the next little while, I'll be putting in a lot of walking pathways all around this area. Again, I just wanted it to be this huge park, kind of, where you can access it from many different streets. Perhaps people that come to the museum can enjoy the park as well. And yeah. Okay, so we have now completed zoning this area for the most part. There won't be much more development happening in this specific area. Now the park is kind of left um, without any trees and any detailing. That will happen in the next episode because it is kind of a lot of work. Um, but we have basically the layout made right now. So again, you have the museum in the middle with walking pathways and parks and shopping all around. And you have the trams running into the area, and you have two different subway lines going through the area. So this would be a very desirable area actually. And I do think I achieved what I wanted in terms of the trams running in between very tall buildings before they get to the station. And look at our metro station. We have people all the way into the tunnel. I don't know why they would be standing there. That probably shouldn't be allowed. And we have people running across the tracks. That is completely unsafe to do. I don't know why we have this many people here, to be honest. They could just be moving in to the area. I don't know. Oh my god. Why are they like crossing randomly? We'll just leave them to it. Hopefully no one will get hurt. And this area, I just went in with some bushes here just to cover up that little unevenness. And yeah. Alright, so all that being said, we are gonna wrap this episode up. This was episode number 10 of King City. Thank you if you made it this far into the video. Please leave a comment, like the video if you enjoyed it. If not, no worries. Nothing needs to be done. I appreciate you watching it either way. But yeah, do let me know if you want to see anything in the city. If you want me to play the game in a specific way, or if you want me to record the game in a different way. Anything you have in mind, leave me a comment. I'll be more than happy to read the comments and apply to the way I play the game. So thank you for watching episode number 10. Hopefully we'll be back with another episode pretty soon, and all the best.